Welcome everybody. Please feel free to take a seat. Je vais me permettre de faire la modération en anglais, donc vous avez les headphones si vous en avez besoin. C'est par souci pour nos invités, et puis que comme nous sommes dans un projet européen, ça nous semble très bien de parler en anglais. Si toutefois vous avez des questions en français, évidemment, n'hésitez pas. I am Carole Ponchon. I am the founder of Be Innovative, which is an organization helping individuals and associations to develop their potential using sport as a tool for social change. But that's more than enough for me, because today we are here to discuss the topic of sport at the workplace. And thanks a lot for the European Federation of Company Sport and the French Federation of Company Sport and the support they get with the partners to organize this meeting. We will speak about diversity. And we have some experts here, or some people that would be much more in charge of discussing it. But the idea is to include more and more people and to make sure sport and diversity are an asset for a company. I will introduce our guest speaker and share the microphone as well. So maybe we can start with you, Marie-Christine, because the mic is next to you. You're president of an engineering company, but you will tell more. You're also president of the World Association of Women CEO and Entrepreneur, and involved as well at the French Federation for Company Sport. Thanks a lot for being here. Professor Marlies Miossek-Müller from Germany. You are also a former member of the European Parliament, so we will also ask your view on this topic. And thanks a lot for being here. Gentlemen, thanks a lot. This is diversity. Yeah. Olivier Carla from France, you're representing Veolia, a huge company, and you're director of training and social development. You will tell us more what it is exactly. Yeah. And last but not least, Barbara Spindler-Holbal from Austria, actually based in Brussels, but from Austria. And if you agree, I will start giving you the mic, because I'm really willing to hear some presentation about your work. And I guess some people here might be interested in hearing what is it you're doing as the Working Party on Sport. Please.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation to join this meeting today. Yeah, as you said, I'm Barbara Spindler-Oswald. I'm from Austria, and you might know Austria at the moment is holding the presidency of the Council of the European Union, and I have the great pleasure to chair the Working Party on Sport on this behalf. So the Working Party on Sport is actually one of the preparatory bodies in the Council of the European Union, and we are dealing with sport issues on the EU level. And so we are preparing council conclusions, we are dealing with anti-doping issues regarding the coordination. So sport is actually in the competence of the EU member states, but we have a strong coordination function. And for these 6 months until end of December, I have the pleasure to chair this working party in the Council of the European Union.
Thanks a lot, and we'll come back about it. Olivier, maybe let's go
around.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Very pleased to be with you this morning. I'm Olivier Carla, so I'm in charge of training and social development. In social development, there's different departments in human resources in Veolia, of which labor relations, key performance indicators, a department to evaluate the performance in human resources. And we will see that evaluate some issues in diversity is absolutely key. And I'm in charge of diversity and inclusion and some issue concerning engagement survey of our top manager. So Veolia is a company of 168,000 people all over the world, mainly 50 main countries in the world. So we will go through the leverage of diversity and sport and how we use sport in order to demonstrate and to articulate sport with our diversity issue and with our strategy which was one Veolia, but we will go back on that.
Professor, if you have few words, I've said just very few about your...
Yes. Bonjour, monsieur, dame. Good day. I am Alice Mosiek-Müller, and I'm a jurist. I have worked as a judge for 20 years, at last as a judge at the Federal High Court, and then I was elected as member of the European Parliament. And after that, I was Minister of Social Affairs in the Land Hessen. And as a minister, I had the responsibility for all the questions we will discuss today. So I have, yes.
Definitely
I was
at a
in
good
touch.
place.
Yes. Okay, merci.
Marie-Christine?
So I'm Marie-Christine Ogli. I'm leading an SME called EngineSoft. I'm in a numerical simulation world, doing consulting and selling software mainly in fluid dynamics, or typical main environment. I have only engineers on board, so I would say that sitting in front of a computer along the day, so health, movement, sport, it's key things for them to have to feel well in their body. And I'm also, as you said, world president of the Businesswomen Owners Association, which is an association born in France in 1945. The aim is to promote women in economic world, because we are at the head of companies, but in economic world, we are still very few women leading Chamber of Commerce, leading different structure on that type, and we are fighting for it. And it's also, of course, a business network.
It's a sport.
Sport is also something that I would like to promote through our association. And Didier told me that we just won together a project, the Erasmus project. We are part of it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It was much better than you introduced yourself than me. I could read the words, but it's always better to hear from participants. So definitely we have a good set of speakers here. They are bringing in different kind of perspective, and we will hear from it. I forgot to mention it, but we want it to be very interactive. So if you have any question, please be sure that we will get back to you and you will have the chance to interact with the participants here. So if you don't mind, let's go into really this topic of diversity. I would be curious to hear your own vision or definition of diversity. I personally link it to inclusion, and it can be a very great asset for any companies and for Europe, for any society in general. But yeah, let's try to focus on what is diversity, why it is an asset for an organization, and start in linking it with the topic of today, that is active workplace. But let's try. Anyone wants to give a first insight?
It's me? Okay.
Yeah, you feel free.
Yes. In general, we have to realize that in our society, the social diversity is increasing enormously. Integration, as it is, migration, variety of sexual orientations, it's more ethnic origins, people with and without disabilities, and today they are more visible than in earlier times. So our common challenge must be to promote the recognition, the appreciation, and the integration of diversity in our business and in our social cultural life. So organizations are to create a working environment free of prejudice, and all employees should be valued regardless to gender, nationality, and so on. And we face the same challenge is in the sports sector and in the working environment. And so we come full circle. Sport organizations, we have in Germany 90 clubs, and in Hessen, where I live, there are 7,700 clubs. They help to find ways and give examples to manage diversity. For the company sector, sport is the ideal medium to bridge the gap, we spoke of it before, and to manage diversity of employees.
Yeah, and I think we will have the view of two persons who were into companies, and it's very interesting. You spoke about prejudices, and we will come back to it, because sport can be tricky. It is also about prejudices and competition. So I will be curious to hear your view about it, how to use it, and making sure we're speaking about active workplace and not only sporty workplace. Yeah. But please, if you want Olivier or Marie-Christine to add something about diversity, and then we can come back to you, Barbara.
So diversity, of course, in companies is extremely important. I mentioned that I have only engineers, which means mostly men. And each time I have to do a recruitment, I'm getting about 100 candidates. It's one or maybe two women. So it's a problem. And when you are only with your, would say, same type of person as you, when you replicate just your own, how to say that, your own way of thinking, you are not so performant. So it's why to have a mixture of men and women, because it's my topic, but it's true also for diversity about race, about age, because that is also important. It's a big trend in the world to have more and more younger people in a high position and pushing senior people, and maybe when you become a bit more senior as me, you think that way, but it's really true. It's either completely young people, or it was before dominated by, I would say, more senior people. It's the combination of the two which is very important and can bring more ideas, can be certainly more dynamic. And if we speak about men and women, it was a professor of Harvard who was requested by a large American company. They told him, now we don't know what to do to increase our growth, to increase our turnover. We made everything we thought, and we are always turning around. We don't find a new solution. And he told them, just introduce on your board few women, 30%. Why 30%? Because up to 30%, you are not listen. You need to be at least 30. It's true for men belong amongst women, or the opposite. And they done it, and they performed. I will not tell you which company it was, but it's something which was really, as an example, given to Harvard students. And I'm sure if we succeed to do that in each company and in each society, the world could be certainly much more better, but also much more performant.
Oui, alors, vu qu'on est dans la diversité, que je suis le représentant masculin dans une majorité féminine, ce qui n'est pas si fréquent, je vais parler en français. Voilà, donc et je re-switcherai éventuellement, comme ça, ce sera aussi la diversité des langues. Sur la diversité, déjà, on va repartir de là où je regarde la diversité, sur ma responsabilité avec mes équipes. Je pense qu'Heidi Aron est ici et m'a beaucoup aidé dans cette démarche-là. On est un groupe de 168 000 personnes, un groupe people intensive, on dit, 50% de nos collaborateurs sont des ouvriers. Contrairement à des éléments, on a simplement 12% de managers dans notre organisation. Donc il y a déjà une diversité sociale, et elle est essentielle dans un collectif, et dans un collectif qui est une entreprise. Qu'est-ce qu'une entreprise, si ce n'est cette valeur commune de salariés, quelle que soit leur responsabilité, et dans toute cette chaîne qui fait finalement la création de valeur au global. Donc dans la diversité, déjà on va regarder cette dimension sociale. Et puis il y a bien sûr les enjeux de genre, les enjeux de nationalité, d'interculturalité, de religion, d'origine, d'orientation sexuelle. tous ces éléments sur la lutte contre les discriminations est absolument importante. Dans nos engagements chez Veolia, il y a un engagement, c'est des engagements pour un développement durable, pour une responsabilité sociale de l'entreprise. Le 9e engagement est un engagement sur la promotion de la diversité et d'arrêter tous les systèmes qui pourraient être des systèmes de discrimination. Du coup, on a pris un certain nombre d'engagements sur les années au fur et à mesure, qui étaient bien sûr la promotion du genre et notamment des femmes dans l'organisation. Notre ratio de démarrage est 20% de femmes dans notre organisation. Sur les managers, on est parti à 20%. Depuis que 5 ans, on arrive autour de 26-27% de femmes managers. On regarde les process de recrutement pour les intégrer. Mais au-delà de ces éléments-là, il y avait l'interculturalité, il y avait la promotion et l'intégration du handicap, il y avait aussi les éléments de la promotion de nos valeurs. Il y en a 5, il y en a 3 qui me paraissent essentiels dans ces éléments-là, de responsabilité, de respect et responsabilité et de solidarité, qui sont les 3 axes sur lesquels. Donc le sport, à un moment, est venu pour dire, finalement, si nos axes politiques sur la diversité sont ceux-là, si notre groupe est dans cette diversité de culture, de pays, d'origine et de dimension sociale, il faut que si on fait du sport, si on a des événements, et on y reviendra peut-être tout à l'heure, eh bien que ce soit la traduction de ça. Et que ce soit la traduction également d'un moment sur lequel, stratégiquement, en 2013, le groupe Veolia s'est réorganisé, il était séparé en divisions, il s'est réorganisé par zone géographique sur une communication qui s'appelait le One Veolia. Et donc avec les équipes qui sont ici, Jean-Marc, Heidi, on a conçu l'ensemble de la logique de sport comme des moments de rassemblement. Et pas comme des moments vous avez parlé du sport, ce que pouvait être le sport, et je pense qu'il faut qu'on ait ce petit moment de recul. Le sport peut être extrêmement négatif. Le sport, ça peut être le dopage, ça peut être l'apartheid, ça peut être des groupes de supporters qui refusent la diversité de l'autre parce qu'il est simplement d'un autre club ou d'une autre ville. Donc nous, notre volonté, et c'est ce qu'on a construit avec l'ensemble des équipes, très soutenu par notre président Antoine Frérot, c'est de développer une vision de la cohésion et du partage collectif. C'est-à-dire que les moments de sport, quel que soit ce sport, soit aussi à l'image de notre entreprise, avec nos ouvriers, avec notre catégorie sociale, avec notre diversité d'origine, de religion, etc. Voilà.
I'm just realizing, do you need an headset?
Sorry.
No, it's me. I am apologizing. Do you need a headset? It might help for the... Yeah?
I think about the message.
Yeah, the message was, we need to think about sport as a collaborative teaming up, just to be very short. No, it's me. I should have think about it. And we were speaking, we got a very broad vision of diversity, and it's good to have a small company and a large one. It brings also a special highlights of what the French Federation of Company Sport is doing, bringing out different kind of stakeholders. And then you make kind of very great transition coming back to sport. And Barbara, sport, active workplace is one of the priority of the Austrian presidency. Can you tell us why it came as a priority and what are your expectations around it?
Yes, thank you very much. Sport and physical activity is actually one of the priorities of the Austrian presidency, and it's a very high priority as well in the EU work plan for sport. So this is focusing on the health-enhancing effects. So physical activity and health-enhancing effects has been on the EU agenda meanwhile in the 3rd EU work plan for sport. So it's a very, very high-level priority. And if you look at the last Eurobarometer results, where it's actually a decrease of people getting active, so I think it's very important to provide answers and to support any initiatives which help to increase the level of physical activity. So this physical activity at the workplace and the active workplace, we think it's a very important contribution to face these challenges. And I think these challenges, they will unfortunately accompany us within the next years. And it's so important to offer solutions to support any physical activities in different settings, in diverse settings, in the workplace, in your private life. And when we think about diversity, all these social effects that were already mentioned, the cultural background, the gender, the age. So I think it's very important to also discuss these issues regarding the aging society. And sport clubs can contribute immense to face these challenges. So you also mentioned the important role of the sport clubs in all these areas. Also in Austria we have a lot of sport clubs. We have 3 million people actually participating in sport clubs, so this is an enormous value to do so. And so for me it's very, very interesting to be here today to get impressions, to get information on what we could proceed during our presidency. Because actually on 10th of December we will hold a seminar in Vienna on this topic, sport and physical activity at the workplace, under our presidency. So we will proceed with this topic, and thank you very much for your contributions.
That's great, because you're looking for solutions, so another great transition. I guess we can try, because we have to be fast, there is many questions I would ask to make sure of taking the most of your incredible brain and experience. But if we focus on kind of solution and very concrete way, how we can use sport and physical activity as facilitator for diversity, I would be very keen to hear your own experience about it. And I think there is 3 ways. It can be, sport is a tool to develop the competencies needed to facilitate diversity, but you can say more. Maybe this is just me as a sport born people, let's say it like this. So it can help to develop competencies, and I know it's part of your portfolio, but it's also what you're doing at the MEDEF. We didn't mention it, but you're also working on skills, competencies, education, so it can be it. But it's also an opportunity to practice together, and I'm sure you have many examples of it, and coming also from the organization that are making this event happening. And last but not least, then I will leave you the floor. I would be curious to hear how, because you mentioned this challenge of bringing in diversity as part of getting people into the organization, how it can be used not only in company, but before, when you are recruiting, to meet different persons. For example, there is the Courons vers l'emploi that is done as well by the French Federation for Company Sport. And it can be also interesting to hear your view, not only diversity in companies, but how you bring the diversity into the company through sport. If it's not clear, I will come back to it. Who else? Who wants to start? Yeah.
You start.
Okay. Yes. I will give you some examples how it works in Germany. A very low-threat service is perhaps to have such leaf sheets. It's named here active in the world of the working world, and then the best chair is the chair from which you can come up. So and here are some examples for exercises and so on. Bewegt im Betrieb, moved in at the working place. I think that is important to motivate. And I give you another example from my own. It's not important, but I think everyone can help and motivate. When I came to my first workplace as a judge, I had to face that there were many people always ill. And I thought that can't be like this can't stay like this. And I brought with me my disc record and invited for the lunch break, come with me, we will move. At the beginning, a very modest reaction, but then it was accepted, and it was an example for other courts too. And I think today it doesn't work anymore, but for a long time it was very actual. What is much more important in Germany, but that's not only in Germany, it's also in many, many countries, I think here in France too, the Diversity Charter. Yes, do you know it? It's a document which it comes from an initiative of many enterprises to promote diversity in companies and institutions. Angela Merkel is the patron, and it has good standing in the medias. But this is only a document, but not filled with life. And so we should mention there is every year in Germany, I don't know how it is in the other countries, a Diversity Day. And this is important because all those who are engaged in diversity managing, they can present what they have made. And there is still a competition for youth people, and they can bring in their ideas and take part in projects. I think that is very important for the public, so that they know it's sport and activities in the enterprise is very, very important for health, and we will speak about all the other efforts and consequences of doing active sports.
Yeah, it's certainly much more difficult in small companies than in large groups, because of course you can, when you have a large company, you can have some places to do sport on site. When you have small companies, very often you don't have space. That means employees have to go outside. So if they go outside, it could be during lunchtime or in the evening, and going together, it's much more difficult. But having said that, it's certain things that you can do, which is good also for health, and mainly when you have to sit down all the day long, it's to do some things like yoga, like some exercise, physical exercise on site, not needing to have showers, because it's also a problem when you are in small companies. You was talking about MEDEF. MEDEF, a few years ago, you didn't have at all a sport commission. Then, since now maybe 10 years, it's something which is taking into account, and which will take more and more, because first of all, we have one woman, Dominique Carlac, who is leading this company and who was athlete, at a high level in her past life. And also our actual president, Geoffroy Roux de Bézieux, who was playing rugby. And so for him, it's the collective part, team building, which is also important. So it's something we are taking into account. If we look at the last summer university of MEDEF, it was a woman who came there and was doing, between the different conference, she was doing during 5-10 minutes yoga. But yoga that you don't need to sit down on the floor, but just doing some exercise for eyes, because of course everyone is also looking at his smartphone or being on a computer the whole day, so eyes are suffering. So it's not exactly sport, but it's exercise. And it's something that we need to encourage, because it's also the best way to integrate diversity. If I speak again about my company, I have a secretary, an assistant, who is very short. She should be 1 meter less than 50. And she's 55 today. And at the beginning, we were discussing about some outside competition on a boat, a dragon boat, which was set up in our department. And of course, the young engineer was saying, she will be a weight, because she's short, she's not sportive, and she's older. But finally, I told them the goal is not competition. The goal is to do something together. Just take it as a game, being together, playing together. And finally, it created a real energy between the group, and they helped her. and she changed completely her way of seeing sport, because she was not doing at all, and now she's not, of course, a sport person and doing sport every day, but she's improving her view on that, and she's feeling really better, and she's really part of the team. So it's very important for me. Sport, it's a way to integrate people. Despite in sport, as we said, it could be apartheid, it could be also, and also women are not so well set in light. When we look at football, for instance, we speak during many months. Sorry for men who are playing football, but during months or days, we are speaking about men. Football game. Of course, this year we won the World Cup, so it was great. But the other years, when France is not in final or even in semi-final, we speak about football for men, and women are really performing, and we don't speak so much. So it's something that we have to do as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree on containing the point. I switch in English because it will be easier. So, sorry for the French. Now, I would like to come back on the point that sport is for all, and sport could be or not could be for a leverage for diversity. So you have to think, if you want that sport will be a leverage for diversity or a tool for diversity, you have to think every event we organize on sport, based on your strategy, on your diversity approach. If not, sport become performance for young people, and that's only the way to be more performant and to demonstrate my performance. That's not our view. The view is to really create through sports, but it could be not only sports, it could be culture, it could be music, it could be dance, it could be things, to think internally in a company what we want really to do, and that's a collective approach. That's for all. And the example that someone which was absolutely not in the sport or physical activities come back and to say, okay, I try with you, seems for me the best award we can have. We have this experience with the course de la diversité. I don't know how we translate race for diversity or something like that. Diversity race, which is a very good event. Those who don't participate, please participate. That's nice, really nice events. Despite Veolia have a lot of gold medals, but it will be okay. I'm surprised with the team that at the very beginning, I think it was 5 years ago, we were in Veolia only less than 200 people to participate. Now that's more than 550 people. Why? Because they speak each other's, and that's a really fantastic moment with the chairman. He spent 2-3 hours with us to be with the people and to be with them, which is very important. What we discover, why is this movement from 200 to more than 500, that's more and more the cause of the diversity race. We can make duo, we can walk, we can run 3 kilometers, 6 kilometers. We can go by duo, by gender, by intergenerational approach, disability or people valid and that. And what we discovered the 2 last years, that's more and more we have people who walk. They don't want, so we have demonstrated that this moment was more a moment for diversity, for cohesion, for a collective approach, and not for performance. We don't care. I'm very glad of my last performance, thank you, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is to be with the others and to include everyone. And we have more and more senior people in the organizations. At the very beginning, they say, I know that's a race, I can't be with you. I will just applaud. Now they walk, and they walk together. And the people who run very fast are there to applaud them when they arrive. And for me, that's the best moment in the organizations and for a company in terms of value, of solidarity, and to demonstrate respect for everyone, whatever is performance in terms of sport. Perhaps an example concerning the World Company Game, or we switch just after?
I think you can make
okay.
a common presentation in terms of European
Okay. Yeah, concerning just a focus on the World Company Game, because the last one was absolutely a strong moment in terms of cohesion, in terms of policy for the group. We decided with the team, and again, thanks to the team, Heidi and Jean-Marc, they are there. They can see, yes. If you have questions, concrete questions, you can go to ask to those nice people. Just we decided that it was the first world company game, and we say we are a world company. We are one Veolia. So we take the figures. Where are the people in the organizations? What is the percentage of people in Asia, in Latin America, in North America? And I arrive with my human resources figures and KPIs, and we discuss with Heidi and with Jean-Marc, and we say, I would like that we involve the maximum of countries, of people of everywhere. For sure, for budget reasons, we have to take care of some of head of zone, and we say, okay, for North America, please slow, not more than 10 people for North America. But if you have 10 people from North America, 10 from Latin America, 10 from Asia, 20 from we realize something which is an amazing figures of the one Veolia through 150 athletes for this company. The second point, and I think it was 35 countries represented in our team. So that's a mess, clearly. We translate French, English today, but imagine the volleyball team, I think with Bulgarian people, German people, North American people, and French people. What they do, just they play volleyball and they play together. And the point was, and they perform, I think they get the gold medal. But they were very pleased to be together, and from Bulgaria to Latin America or North America, they play together and they recognize. And in the team, we discover one manager, one worker, and they share the different activities and their social status together. It was an amazing moment for that. And concerning gender balance, we decided with Heidi to say, I say that we have 20% of female in the organizations, around 25% at this time of managers. So we say we will have more or around 30% of women. It was kind of positive action to say we want to promote female in the organizations. We want to demonstrate that everyone will be there. The last point, that's the senior or the age pyramid. We check our age pyramid, and we say in the different category of sports, we want to have different people, different age, and we have senior people and very young and very well-performer people, but that's a mix, and that's one team. That's really important to create this moment. Sorry, this was... I'm passionate for that.
We are all passionate about sport.
Sure. Barbara, you're hosting or supporting the host of the European Games next year, so it makes a good link as well.
Yeah, but first of all, I would just like to come back to this issue of offering sport and physical activity programs and offers related to diversity. I think, first of all, everybody should feel comfortable with it. We are talking about sports. We are talking about physical activity. It should make fun. Everybody should feel relaxed. Should be happy about it. And it's so. I think it's also very important that you create like a welcome atmosphere, a good atmosphere regarding like sanitary. Equipment that people might get changed, like we have a separate room for men and a separate room for women. But of course, I mean, this is easier if you're a big company. If you're a small company, you probably can't offer all these things. So in our point of view, it's also important to have like a low-level approach. So and then we refer to this active workplace. So I think you can do a lot in regard of active workplace. Things like you have to think to put the printer a bit far away so that you actually can walk there. In our offices, we have got these tables who move. So you just can stand up and then you can sit down again. So this is a very good thing to be active during the day. Also, you don't make like sports. There are things like this big ball, where you can sit and you move and you sit, but it's a kind of physical activity sitting, so to say. So I think that a lot of things can be done that you create an active workplace, also you don't do sport itself. So I think also this would help a bit. So by creating these or thinking of what you can do in your workplace, if you don't have this, if you can't offer actually sport or physical activity at the workplace because you don't have the equipment, the place, the rooms, it's also, it could be a good thing if you find cooperations, maybe with local sport clubs, to work together with your company. And also, it's not directly at the workplace, but it's kind of linked to this. And regarding the European company sports,
I'm sorry, I have to be the timekeeper. We will come back to this, but I know Professor Marlis needs to leave very soon. So it's just a question of organizing the time and giving the floor. But for sure, we will mention it and come back to it, and it will be an invitation for sure. Do you have one final key message you would like to send as a solution before leaving? I know you need to catch the flight, so...
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm convinced diversity is a value itself. It's very, very important for the enterprises, important for the employees. And there is an internally effect and an externally effect. Internally for the employees, they feel better. All together, they have better teams, they get better results, the atmosphere is much more better. And externally, it's important because of the standing of an enterprise, and the reputation is better. And I think enterprise is more attractive when it can say we manage diversity very, very well. And that's for me the most important in this context.
You also need to leave in a few minutes. Maybe I'm sure you have a takeaways or something to say.
Yeah, I'm leaving in a few minutes because in fact I'm going to Casablanca to speak also about sport, and it seems that they are ready now to set up maybe not federation but association of company sport. It's a way of integration that for sure to have sport and to have diversity. If you put different people together, which are coming from different environment, each of them will bring something, will bring a brick to build the company, but to build the team as well. So I'm really convinced all companies should do at least active workplace. As you said, putting a photocopier quite far, they will walk. But also giving them the opportunity to do something outside. And it was mentioned earlier, maybe using sometimes facilities of large groups when they have rooms they don't use, or it could be something that I'm trying to do in the building where we are. We are all are SMEs, and to find one meeting room which could be used by all people from the building, and they could do some sport, and not, of course, because it would be problems maybe of showers and so on, something too active, but at least doing something. And it's a way also to know the other companies in the same building. And one thing I would like to mention just before to stop, I had the opportunity a few years ago to take control of a company. It was in social housing environment. So it was one company collecting money to build social housing, and it was a company building these apartments. And so the first one that I was leading took control of the second one. It was a problem of integration because it was two different cultures. It was a lot of women, but completely different culture, and they didn't talk with each other. And I discussed with my communication manager, and we thought about one event which is in fall time, La Parisienne, which is a race for women. And we said, why not doing a common team? So the first year, it was very few women. The second year, it was much more. But then they set up a real team and they started to know each other and they won the competition in 2017.
Thanks a lot, ladies. I know you have to leave, so maybe we can just applaud them. It was short, we play with time, but thanks a lot for playing the games. So now we are the three of us. And I will give you back the floor.
Take the mic.
Yeah, that's the one thing. We'll come back to the European Games that are coming to Salzburg in June. And I'm sure, Olivier, you have also some experience of the games. So you have mentioned the World Games, and we can come back to it. Two things that I remember of it is every movement starts with one step, and we have to think about active workplace. We speak a lot about sport, but sport with a purpose, and it can start with only movement. And you were mentioning also the course de la diversité, and that sometimes people tend not to come because they think of course as a competition. So maybe we should also, as a solution, think of the wordings, because it's course de la diversité, but maybe some other organization or people are not taking part because they don't feel comfortable with the idea of racing competition. Anyway, that was just to finalize the quick chat we had on it.
Just sorry, but that's a key point. I think that sport have to have its entire place, but just its place in the organizations, and not to move from what you say at the very beginning: recruitment and sports, management and sports, career development and sports. If the management, if you integrate that, we consider that sports is a new have to do, or you have to practice sport because that's good, we miss the purpose. So I think that really sports and physical activities must be open for everyone in this mindset that we take care of our people. That's all people, all human resources as a strong asset for the company. So we have to take care of all the company, not only some leaders that we train and with this mindset of performance. If I'm performing sport, I will perform in management. Bullshit, sorry, bullshit. So I'm ready to debate concerning this point, but really that's my concern. And create the sports or physical activities at the image of your company, at what you want, and link to your strategy and your human resources strategy. That's absolutely key to respect everyone. And it was a pleasure. We opened a salle de sport in the head office, and we asked to the supplier to welcome at the same level someone from 58 years old coming back and saying that perhaps I will try, and someone which is a real performer in the organizations preparing a marathon or something like that. So at the same level, and to have absolutely different course for different level, and that everyone feel good in these organizations and take care of our employees. That means to integrate sometimes sports in the working conditions of our employee. For instance, repair in the organization, in waste management, we have some échauffement, I don't know, the warm up, sport warm up for them with athletes that say, okay, it will be the working condition are sometimes hard or difficult for them, prepare you as an athlete, and they discuss and they discover that we can avoid problem of injury or else. So take care and let the sport at its real place in the organizations, not more.
I would like to come back to the diversity regarding the diversity of workplaces. So we speak a lot of companies, of big companies, and it's great. I mean, what they can do, but workplaces and modern workplaces especially, they're so diverse. We have this generation Y. We have the flexibility in the workplaces. So one of the possibilities, I mean, for example, we had a conference last week in Vienna, and we tried to do an active break. And everybody was in the meeting room, and we did an active break. but we had a professional coach doing this. I'm not a professional coach, and this was really great because it was only like 5 to 7 minutes, and there were you can do certain training exercises without that you have the need to get changed. You can include it in your working lunch, in the breaks, and you feel so refreshed. You feel like just comfortable. You move your bones, so to say, and these are very easy, low-level actions you can implement in your workplace. And even if the workplace is something, I don't know, small, you don't need a training room for that. You don't need any changing rooms for that. So there are a lot of possibilities, taking into regard the diversity of the workplaces, and I think this should be really promoted.
I'm sure that you can, with some specialists, organize that in only two minutes for you, and to organize that. Yes.
And it's definitely an invitation for those of you who are going then to have lunch to make sure you're visiting the partners that are there offering activities. Is there any question in the room, or was it clear, or are you sleeping? We cannot really see all of you because of the lights, but feel free to. Yeah, Pierre. Will you speak loud, or I give you the mic? Oh, I have
thank you for all the presentations. I have only one question, but maybe in French it can be better for me if you can translate it. Je voulais savoir, au-delà du constat qui est fait notamment sur l'impact de la diversité et toutes les vertus du sport dont on a parlé tout à l'heure, est-ce qu'il y a déjà eu des analyses qui ont été faites sur le comportement de tous ceux qui ont participé ou qui participent à ces activités sportives au sein de l'entreprise, et notamment le rapport hiérarchique, parce qu'on sait que parfois la hiérarchie peut être assez rigide dans certaines entreprises. Le mode de management peut être assez rigide. Comment ça se passe une fois qu'il y a eu ce rapprochement, cette diversité qu'on a retrouvée, sociale, culturelle, ethnique, etc. Comment au sein de l'entreprise les comportements évoluent, comment est-ce qu'ils changent au niveau de la hiérarchie notamment?
Yes, so the question is about the impact of those activities, and especially when you have really managed diversity for sport, as it makes some change in the hierarchy in the organization, does it make it easier to communicate? What are the results from this kind of activities? So maybe Olivier, you can start.
Sorry, I will answer in French. No, I'm very sorry. Je vais vous répondre en français. Alors, j'ai pas et pourtant je m'occupe du reporting social et j'ai des datas partout, mais j'ai pas de points d'études, et on n'a pas fait d'études particulières questionnant sur est-ce que ça a changé quelque chose. Par contre, je peux vous dire, pour avoir participé depuis, je crois, 2013 à tous les jeux d'entreprise, à toutes les courses de la diversité, ce que ça change pour ceux que je vois, c'est le regard. C'est-à-dire qu'à un moment, quand vous avez un maillot, un short et des baskets et que vous courez ensemble, il y a quelque chose, des barrières de j'ai ma cravate, j'ai mon statut, j'ai mon machin, j'ai ma voiture de fonction, tout ça s'écroule, et puis vous êtes ensemble et vous êtes dans le vestiaire ensemble. Et je pense qu'effectivement, après, la façon de se parler, la hiérarchie restera, on prendra les décisions, on n'est pas sur les mêmes statuts, et on en a pleinement conscience, mais dans la capacité à aller vers l'autre et à le reconnaître aussi comme une personne et pas simplement comme un statut, il y a quelque chose qui change. Et je pense que ça, je le vois moi sur des regards. Il y a des gens que je connaissais dans l'organisation, on a couru ensemble, on a fait du sport ensemble, on a loupé des ballons ensemble, et il y a quelque chose dans le regard qui change dans le bonjour, dans quelque chose de peut-être plus direct, et où vous n'êtes pas vu, je le vois pour moi, comme le directeur de ressources humaines, mais vous êtes vu comme éventuellement Olivier, et puis on sait très bien ce que tu fais, mais pendant ce moment-là, on peut se dire un certain nombre de choses. Et ce qui est assez amusant, c'est que parfois ça part du sport, ça bascule sur le professionnel, ça revient sur le sport ou sur d'autres éléments. Et je pense que c'est une réalité. Et quand je vois 500 personnes participer, plus de 550 personnes participer à la course de la diversité, venir voir le président et se mettre à côté du président et discuter avec le président, et lui-même avoir un sourire comme ça, et ce n'est pas toujours facile d'être un patron du CAC 40, je vous assure qu'il y a quelque chose de particulier. Est-ce que ça se poursuit? Je pense que oui. Je pense que quand ça se poursuit, et ces moments de communauté, de rencontres, d'échanges sont absolument essentiels dans nos entreprises. Encore une fois, ce n'est pas que le sport qui doit créer ça, mais le sport peut être un très beau vecteur comme ça d'abaissement des barrières, et il y en a beaucoup. L'entre-soi est très important dans notre société, trop important. Hein. Il y a des sélections comme ça, on est dans les cafés, dans les mêmes endroits, dans les mêmes quartiers, dans les mêmes ceci. Et je pense que ça casse vraiment des barrières, du moins dans un groupe comme le nôtre, où effectivement il y a une représentation extrêmement diverse. Donc je pense que une étude pourrait être intéressante sur la participation. Puis on a lancé des communautés type Google+, de communautés de partage. Et là, je vois ça vient de tous les pays du monde. Et on ne se pose pas la question du statut. On voit Steve, Brigitte, Olivier, participants. Et je ne me pose pas du tout la question de qui a posté et c'est quoi sa fonction et c'est quoi sa rémunération ou son statut ou son positionnement d'origine, religieuse, syndicale. Ça s'évacue pendant un moment et ça nous fait tellement de bien.
I think it's clearly an invitation for the next games, right? To have a study on it, a report.
Well, I'm not organizer of the game. But I agree it would be very interesting to have a survey on this topic, on the outcomes. Yes, I mean, I can take the message back home to look at this. Yeah, so no, I can come back now to the European Company Sports Games. Yes, next year in June in Salzburg, they will be. They take place in Austria next week, so we are very happy that these European Company Sports Game will be in Austria. And I mean, as I said, I'm not the organizer, but of course we hope that a lot of people, a lot of athletes will come to Salzburg and enjoy the games. Yeah. So this is kind of invitation on some other behalves.
That's really great. And I think somehow it's a very good recommendation to have these studies and to link it. And I think it should not be a one-off study, but repeating one to make sure it's a long-lasting impact. If there is other question, we can take one more, but otherwise I would just ask Maxime, because you're reporting, do you know about the other roundtable?
The other one's still ongoing.
Okay, so we can take one more question or have one takeaways from the participants. Any other question? You have been too brilliant, or we were unclear, I don't know, but let's say we were brilliant. Any final message to conclude the meeting?
Just perhaps one, I'm sure that Veolia and we will be in Salzburg, so and quite ready for, because we have a challenge that we were in Gand, I think the European champion, so we have to be prepared with all the team, and if you are from different company, participate, because that's an amazing moment of sharing of values internally in your company, but with all the other company and with the staff, which is absolutely really involved and deeply involved to make everything perfect. So participate, please.
Barbara, there will be your chair of the working party on sport, and as you said, active workplace is one of the priority. What are the next steps? What can be expected? Will there be any recommendation, or is there anything you can share right now, or is it still confidential, which we would understand?
It's not a secret. As I said, we are organizing a seminar on this topic on the 10th of December in Vienna. We are in the preparation phase, so we are. That's why it's a great opportunity for me being here today, and I will follow the whole meeting. So we will take on board a lot of things which were discussed today, also the question of diversity and what can be done, and what has to be discussed with the follow-ups. So yeah, we plan.
From the meeting there will be recommendation, or it will be a report and some ideas of food for thought for others?
Yeah, of course, every seminar or the conferences, you take the information back to the working party. This is also, of course, something very interesting for the members of the work party, which are the members of the member states.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I have not much to say more, just because it was very inspiring, at least to me. I hope it was for you. And again, every movement starts with one step, so you can step up and do some steps while waiting for the others. I think it's key. It's definitely key that we don't put ourselves barriers, also as small organizations, just thinking that, yeah, but big organizations are more facilities or it's easier for them. Let's take our own step one by one and start something together. That's it. Thanks a lot for having been here.
Thank you.